morning to everybody. Happy Monday. As you can see in my background, there are no 4-year-olds. There is no sign of a beach. It is back to the grind today, back to work today. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Cullen. Lisa's here this morning. Good morning, Lisa, over in Texas. We got Cullen in Seattle, the early bird over there. Chad, what's up, brother, from South Kakalaka, is here. Suave, Mike, Cindy is here, and we are live in the Facebook world. So say good morning to everybody. First time being on here. Make sure you say good morning to us. Tell us where you're from. You never know where you got some networking opportunities, some people that might be in your hometown, might have lived right there by you. Good morning. Good morning to you all. One of the things I do have to work on, because Jay and I came up with a better strategy for me, that when I do this, she is now the main person that runs it. So let me just get my Facebook up. I'm trying to find my Facebook Live. We will see if she's got it. She's working on it. She's working on Facebook Live. So good morning, everyone. Oh, there it is, Facebook Live. There you are, Stephanie. What's going on? I'm just excited, guys. This is the first time. And I love seeing more people on video this morning. So thank you so much for the first time. This is the first time I actually, with my kids, how many of you, I think I said it last time, you need a vacation from your vacation? I actually didn't need that this time. I felt really recharged. I had such an amazing time because, we talked about it last week. I was very purposeful about my vacation. I was purposeful about my kids. I was intentional with my kids. How many of you, when you remember back then, for those that had kids, this was me. I would be on the beach and I literally, no joke, a year ago, this is how my mindset was. Not fully, but it was still part of it. I lay on the beach and my kids wanted to play. I'm like, Dad hasn't laid on the beach and Dad needs to relax in the sun. I'm like, I'll play with you in a little bit. I'm like, can I just get a couple minutes to myself? I went to victim mode. I went to crybaby mode. And I told myself I was not going to do it this time. And I had the best compliment my son has ever given me. When we got home from the beach, he said to me, I said, Bryce, we're home. He was not happy being home. He wanted to go back to the beach. I said, well, Bryce, what was the best part about the beach? And no joke, guys, I can't even make this up. Sometimes it gets me emotional when I was thinking about it. I asked Brielle, and Brielle's 10, and she's like, Dad, it was fun being at the beach. And so she had a good time in miniature golf and everything else. But just for a 4-year-old to say this to me just melts in my heart. I said, Bryce, what about you, buddy? What was your best time with you? He goes, you, Dad. Playing with you on the beach. I was like, oh my gosh, Bryce, I almost dropped you. I was holding on to him as I was coming in. I said, really? He goes, yeah, I had a lot of fun playing with you. And I was just like, that is why, in order for me to be purposeful, and why I share this before I get into my big thing is I'm telling you, if you are purposeful, like Chad says, if you focus on whatever the hell it is that you want to do, I told myself, I'm going to play with my kids on the beach. I'm not going to if I want my own vacation, Brock, you do it on your own time and you can have your own vacation and you could sit there by yourself all day and nobody's going to care. But when your kids are here, you're going to go play with them. And I played paddleball. I played soccer. The water was freezing. And I got talked into going into the ocean. We did negotiate through. Bryce really wanted me out in the ocean. We negotiated up to my thighs until they started to get a little numb. And then I had to get back out again, but it wasn't too bad. So anyways, it's just happy to be back here. It was great making those memories. It's just awesome being able to take my parents and to be able to be a part of that whole thing and Wendy being there. So it was really cool. So good morning, everybody. My name is Brock Zivan, life coach, business coach, real estate agent, and a dad. And as we always start our affirmations, I'm now just going to say it at once. Something good is going to happen to me. Something good is going to happen through me. So here we are. It's Monday. And on Mondays, I think Chad, I got to get with you. I've been running around, but man, Hubert was awesome, man. That was just such an amazing story. Like I was listening to it in my earpiece, and Wendy and the kids are like, Brock, what's going on? I'm like, this guy is phenomenal. Like this guy is amazing. Like his pinky is his thumb. He doesn't have hand movement, yet he's going to play the drums. Like it was just like a story after story of just like amazingness. I was like, wow. So hats off to you, Chad. I really appreciate you. You helped me out, but you all helped me out. But I know, Chad, you had to change your schedule around. So I really appreciate it. So on Mondays, I talk about John Maxwell. We've been breaking down, we're in law number 6, the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And so today is the law of solid ground. So just to let the cat out of the bag, this is the first time of me coaching this and training this. I started with John Maxwell, coaching and training with him and learning about it in Orlando as I'm becoming a certified coach with him. And so I'm reading this, practicing and coaching it all at the same time. So like last week, Chad gave me a really nice compliment saying that it was one of the best ones I gave. So this week, Chad, just let you know, I'll probably flop completely. So we'll see what happens on this one here today. But this is the law of solid ground that I was studying and learning, and I want to share it with you guys this morning. So Facebook world, I can't see you. So if you're going to have questions, Jay, you're going to have to let me know if they have any questions or comments, and hopefully they're being, oh, I got it. Good morning, Facebook world. Everybody's, hey, Karen, Melissa Ann's here. All right. Sorry. It's like tangents I'm on today. I'm so excited. I got a full charge battery. This is what happens to me. This is what happens. Okay. So here's 3 key ingredients I'm going to tell you with the solid ground that I want you. It talks about the foundation of leadership, but to me, David, it goes into the aspects, Pat, of literally anything. Okay. Because it could be with your significant other, it could be with your kids, it could be with your coworkers, it could be with anything that you have going on, and why I feel Suave this works and why I feel that this is so important. It states this: the law of solid ground is based off of trust is the foundation of this law. Trust. So I'm going to go over with you some three ingredients of it. So I started to break down trust, and he goes into it. It talks about leaders cannot repeatedly break trust with people and continues to influence them. Okay. We're going to go through a little bit of my past here very shortly, which I'm not too excited about, but at the same token, it's something that has to be said. But when you deal with trust, one of the things I wrote down here, like, what does that really, what is trust? Like, who could tell me what trust is? I'm going to see they're going to pick names or somebody can unmute their microphone, but think about it. What is trust? Like, you can't go to the store and buy it. I can't go to Walmart or I can't go to Amazon and put in, I like to buy trust, and they're not going to give me like a laundry list. Like, what is trust? Like, what would you say trust is, Christian? What is trust to you? It's believing someone's action will match their words, firm belief in the character, ability, and strength. Suave, I like the word character, right? So today I wrote down a bunch of questions I'm going to call people out today. So just, be ready or as our coach does to us, like, I got to pay attention, confidence that someone will do what they say. Yeah. Right. Believing in someone or something, right, Melissa? So trust is based off of in what John Maxwell states, which, he talked about the government. It's kind of funny. Ironically, he shared some stats of the government, what trust is today as it was back in the 1950s and 60s. He said in the 1950s and 60s, 80% of American people trusted the government. I know what the percentage is now. 8%. 8% trust the government, which is pretty sad, but I mean, it is what it is. But in the prices, in dealing with the law of solid ground in trust, there's 2 extremes. Remember, trust is based off of 2 ingredients. One is character, and the second one is values. And see, the reason why this morning we're able to have 20 some people being on here, and then whoever watches the recording and sends me messages, is because you all started to have trust in me. You started to, how many of you have heard of, well, I got some faith in that person? We probably more heard of, boy, I've lost some faith in that person right there. Right? How many of you have heard that, said that, lost faith in that person? Right? And what that really means is we lost trust in that person. And what happened during my drinking days, I had a lot of faith and trust of my gurus, of the people who wanted to party with me. At the time, I was financially well off, meaning well off into spending at bars. And I would buy shots for pretty much everybody. I would spend $1,000 to, depending on what was going on that weekend, 1,000 to $1,200 a weekend on drinking and partying and doing whatever it was. So my gurus and the faith of the people that I was at, they had faith in me and trusted me that Brock's going to show up. I know it on Friday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. This guy's a go-getter. He is going to attack it hard, and that's what I did. And see, none of you on here, not one single one of you met me at the bar. Not one single person on this part, because only a very small few saw that season of who I was. You wouldn't trust me. I had no character and my values were pretty much in the toilet. I was not a very good person. So my influence and my faith base was not there at all. And so the law of solid ground was like far existent to me. So there was zero trust. And what I've learned through this is there's two ingredients that I had to build in becoming more trustful and trustworthy. The one ingredient is called character. The second ingredient is called value. So let's break down character. So Brock's character 6 years ago was a mess. I was not trustworthy. I was not reliable. My divorce was I was in shambles. And I thought that actually was my low point. How many of you raising your hand, and this is being vulnerable here, but how many raising your hand and give me a thumbs up or something in Facebook world? How many of you felt like you were at the bottom of the barrel and then like a month later, something else worse happened to you? Like, man, I really thought I was at the bottom, but then something else, like another thing happened. Like, oh God, I thought that was the bottom of the barrel. Right. So several of you said that. That's how I was 6 years ago when I stopped drinking. My first time stopping drinking was in the beginning of September 7th. And then I fell off the wagon and was still struggling. I was like the white grips, white fingers of just like holding on. And then the next time was November 1st. I thought that was the bottom of the barrel. I thought that was where I was, and that's what I was trying to do because, like, okay, a week after I stopped drinking, I went to my ex-wife, Laura, and I told her I've changed. I told her she could start to trust me now. I said, you know what, you can trust me now. I stopped drinking, hon. I'm a good person. You know what she did? She gave me the middle finger. Why? Is because for so many years, I was an untrustworthy person. See, character that he writes in here comes part of consistency. The biggest compliment that I get when Mary and Chad and those people who are in my life, they're like, damn, that Brock guy, he's consistent. I got to give him that. He is consistent and he is disciplined. And so at the time, I didn't read this, guys. Remember, I just told you I'm just starting to read this. Obviously, I read the law before, but I was just like, as I was reflecting, I said, I was building my character on November 1st, but it takes time. It takes consistency building it up here. And I was going through this here. Everything rises and falls when a leader demonstrates competence and good values. But the important thing is the consistency. Where's my notes here? The consistency is what you do when nobody's watching, called integrity. So the integrity of character is part of it, because I was talking to somebody yesterday during this, I was at a 50th birthday anniversary, and they were sharing with me some of their family members and their friends of somebody who's drinking. And they asked me if I could help them. And I said, oh, of course I'd be able to help them. I said, but do they want help? See, wanting help is totally different than me having a chit chat with you. But thing is what I told him, I said, my integrity takes shape when I'm at the airport. My integrity takes shape when my kids are around, when he's not around, and I'm by myself. See, I can go to the airport. I've been flying a lot more, and not one single person knows me. And it's very easy for me to walk up to a bar and have a drink. 100%. And I say that because I think that I'm not different than anybody else. Those thoughts go into my head because my disease does not leave me. So what takes over is consistency beats disease all day long. My consistency of my decisions beats my disease every single day. I have a new standard, like Christian just stated right there. It's I raised the bar. My ground is solid now. And it comes from the consistency of my integrity of what I do. And it talks about this. It says, no man can climb out beyond limitations of its own character. Weak character is limiting. And why I underline weak character is limiting, it says weak character didn't vanish. Weak character didn't leave me. Weak character is limiting, meaning that my character was weak 6 years ago. And then when I thought I was at the bottom of the barrel 6 years ago, I was just starting. I didn't have solid ground. I was on mushy ground. I was in a freaking sandbox. And it was terrible because my next challenge, my hell was within the next year. Because when you're on drinking, when they say withdrawals and all that stuff, it happens. And that's why that pain hits you those 30 days. That's why they say you got to go to detox for 30 days. I didn't do the detox. And I know why God did that for me, because he had to do it for me and not to me. It was for me to be able to help that pain. When people say, when people say pain, I'm like, I get it. But I had to be consistent during that time period, because guess what I had to earn? Begins with an R. I had to earn respect. See, I had to learn that respect, because one of the things that it talks about is character communicates respect. And see, it states here is respect is absolutely essential for lasting leadership. So then the next question is that I put out to you guys, it says this: how do leaders earn respect? How did Brock Zivan earn respect? How did Brock Zivan get to have 20 some people each and every morning joining us? I don't even text people anymore. They just show up each and every morning, Monday through Friday. Respect has to be earned. Nobody can say like, hey, listen, Chad, I'm going to pay you $100 for you to come on today because I need some little respect. I need that. Hey, Cullen, I know you're in Seattle, so I'm going to double you and pay you 200. You can't go buy respect. You have to show up every single day, and you have to be consistent with doing it. It says this. Here's the key ingredient for those, because when I read it, I was like, oh God, could I ever say this? How do leaders earn respect? They earn it by making tough decisions, by admitting their mistakes, and by putting what's best for their followers and their organization ahead of their personal agenda. Respect is earned on difficult ground. So if there's any notes I'm going to tell you to take, you write down respect is earned on difficult ground. You know how many difficult decisions I've had to make in the last 6 years of my life? You know how many times I've cried? You know how many times I've wept on a couch by myself? You know how many times I've had to have conversations with my mother crying in front of me, telling her certain things? How many times I've had it and my dad have very strong conversations with Wendy? See, guys, you'll notice I didn't say any conversations with a stranger. See, conversations with difficult conversations with a stranger, there's no emotional attachment because they don't really know me and I don't really know them. So it's easy for me to have conversations with strangers like, let me just tell you. They're like, Okay. No, it sounds. See, when you have it with loved ones, that ups the ante. I'll just tell you that. It ups the ante because they know you inside out and backwards. Like Mike Castor knows me very well. So when I have to tell him certain things of ownership that I have to deal with, like, man, I got to tell you something. I made a bonehead move here. See, at that moment, I didn't realize it, but I built respect with him and I built my character up with him. So when he has situations that take place, I'm the first person he calls. When some of you have conversations, I'm one of the people that hey Brock, I got to talk to you about something. See, that didn't happen on September 8th when I stopped drinking or November 2nd when I stopped drinking because the consistency wasn't built up yet. The respect wasn't earned. I didn't earn my difficult ground merit badge in Boy Scout. I had to go through the SHIT. I had to go through the grind. I had to go through the misery. I had to go through the foreclosure. That's when I was building my solid ground. That's when, if you can imagine taking your shovel and being like, damn, I gotta freaking still bear it. I gotta still dig this. I gotta still make because I was building things off of sand. I was building a castle off of sand. And when the tide happens, which is difficult ground, it's going to get washed away. And see, what I also didn't learn, let me go to my notes here. Not only is character tested, my values were tested. I wrote down our values are tested during challenging times. See, it's very easy for me to talk to you guys all and be like, okay, this is what Brock's going on. But like karma, faith, integrity, everything takes place because if I was drinking, I always tell this to people all the time who are trying to catch me in my drinking act, which I find very comical. And it is weird to say, but like people try to catch me drinking. Like my posts that I put out there, like I will have people text me, which is random numbers, and they would text me and say that I saw you drinking. Was that a bottle of wine in front of your plate? Like the one of me with my family this past week, there's wine in front, and somebody asked me if I started drinking again. And I'm like, do you have anything else better to do than to ask me if I'm drinking? Like, why does it matter if I'm drinking or not? Now, I'm not drinking, but like, it still like behooves me that people, when you're around the wrong crowd, everybody, situations take place, or they always say, man, I can't believe this is not happening for me. I can't believe, I say, I can't believe how much is happening to me in a positive way because my values are now aligned with me. And what I wrote down is you could be a player or you could be a pretender. You could be a player or you could be a pretender. And there's a lot of pretenders out there where you show up and you only show up for a certain period of time. And these pretenders, how many times have you heard it in the football game when the playoffs come? You guys, are they playoff brown or pretender brown? Like, are they going to show up for the big game? And see, in our life, everybody, and I'm talking to somebody right now, I don't know who it is, but I'm talking to somebody right now that are pretending. And you're going to have to come out of your shell and become a player. And being a player doesn't mean that you just show up on Sundays when the lights are on and the crowd's there. The players show up when it's Monday morning and you got to hit the gym, when you got to watch film on Tuesday, when even you have off. And I know the NFL schedule because I'm an NFL nut, but like they have off on Tuesdays. What made Tom Brady and these people good is they showed up on Tuesdays. There's no time off during the season. And when Emmett Thomas says players I forgot his quote that Emmitt Smith said, but he talks about, players of the elite are made during preseason. Like preseason is what it's all about to get yourself ready for the game. But one of the things that I wrote down that was tested recently that I want you to think back at is what were you doing during COVID? How were you during COVID? Were you being tested? And so when Mike Kastner and I were talking on COVID, I remember we were in our office in Cornelius and he says to me, hey, Brock, what do you think about this COVID thing? I'm like, Mike, it's in China. It's not going to come here. Like, it's not going to bother us. Like, we're here. Right? He's laughing right now because he remembers this conversation. I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it because, Brock doesn't think. I wasn't on solid ground. So I was just like, whatever. But in reality, it rocked our world, right? And so I say this because the character, the values of what it was instilled with us during COVID, because on difficult grounds, do you guys know the divorce rate actually went up? Sad to say, but it went up during COVID because relationships were put into a house together and they never had communications and never talked to each other. They were not built on solid ground. What they were built off of typically is kids, and they stay with each other. They cope. Our coach says they tolerated each other. They didn't celebrate each other. And so what took place is that they just didn't know how to build off of difficult ground. And so the divorce took place and they were stuck within each other's and they're stuck within the confines of each other. And like, man, I can't believe this. This is just, this is not really good. And they kept just like making poor decisions after poor decisions. And they would go to bed angry and blah, blah, blah. And Walt Disney said this, Roy Disney said this, to make really good decisions, you just need to have really good values. See, decisions become difficult if you don't know your values. If you don't know your value, if I went around here, hey, Sandy, Suave, Mike, Christian, Chad, and for those, Melissa and Pat and all these people, what are your values? What are your core values? Well, the reason why we have difficulty making good decisions is because, hell, I don't really know, Brock. That's a good question to ask. So I ask you, what are your values? See, I want you today, I'm going to encourage you, your, I don't want to say assignment, but something I would encourage you to think about is I want you to learn what your values are. I want you to learn actually what's inside of you and learn your values. And then I want you to live your values. See, a lot of people might say, well, here's my values. I go to church on Sundays, but if it's too early or if I had a really crazy night the night before, I don't really get up. But so is it really, do you value church on Sundays, or is it like I just happen to go to church on Sundays? Like, which one is it? Are you living it? Because we might talk about it, but living it is something totally different. Because when you learn your values and you live your values, you become more valuable to yourself and to others. And see, what I've learned throughout this whole process of solid ground is I've learned how to earn people's trust. I've earned to have people's respect. And I align myself up with my values. I don't assign myself with my values. And so I take that and I share it with other people. And I do that on a consistent basis every single day. And I show up at 8:15, no matter if I was on vacation, no matter if I was in a car, I show up every single day. And so when people ask me and I go and have different conversations anymore, like I talk to my family that I haven't talked to in like 15 years. And the first thing out of their mouth is saying, 15 years. And my uncle said to me, and it's not because we didn't like each other, but it's just because of geographically and where we were, my life and everything else. He goes, man, I've been really following you on Facebook. I really like what you got going on. I haven't talked to him for 15 years. Uncle G gave him a hug. How you doing, man? I'm doing really good. I just want to tell you, I've been watching your stuff on Facebook. I'm just really proud of you. And I was like, that's why I stay consistent. That is why I've learned to build myself on solid ground, because I get to help people today. I get to do things that I never thought I could do. I have character. I love that my kids look up to me. I love that people have value of me, because when you get to change people's lives, it's something that you can't you can't go to the store, you can't go to Amazon and do that. And I got to be able to do it in so many different angles last week. So trust, character, and values is the foundation of the law of solid ground. Guys, it is 8:45. If I struck you, if that meant something to you, then I'm telling you, you're going to love Tuesday because I'm going to teach you some more stuff. If you're in Charlotte, we're doing a happy hour chat GPT, and I'm going to teach you everything that I'm learning and how to pour into people, value of ebooks, the value of this chat AI stuff. It is phenomenal. If you've been struggling trying to figure out what your next thing is going to be, how to be able to do better posts, to be able to put it out there, chat GPT tomorrow. It's live in person at 5 o'clock. Thank you, Suave. At 5 o'clock, 5 to 7. Love to have you come out there and share with you. The link is BZ3 Chat GPT. I know some of you are not in the area, but just something to put out there. But don't you worry, May 2nd, Coach Bert's going to be here too. So if you want to come into the area, that's an all-day event. So we'll have that. Guys, I appreciate you. I want you all to have a phenomenal day today. And I look forward to Chad tomorrow. And I appreciate you guys letting me share the law of solid ground today and share a little bit about my story. And I've already said, like, man, I felt like I messed up today, but hopefully you're able to pull something out of it. My brain thinks weird, but I appreciate you all. God bless you. Chad, I can't wait to hear you tomorrow, buddy. 8:15. Have a phenomenal day, guys. See you tomorrow. See ya.